Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're talking about something that is going to fundamentally change what's possible on the screen right in front of you. Seriously, if you're a developer, consider this Explainer your origin story. Why? Because we're handing you your ultimate precision-engineered toolkit. We're talking about the GSAP Arsenal, GreenSock Animation Platform. You know when you're browsing the web and you are just absolutely blown away by a site that feels alive? Like where the elements don't just move, they actually breathe with this hyper-realistic style and physics-defying smoothness? Yeah, you were almost certainly looking at GSAP in action. So let's break down exactly what makes this engine tick.
Now, I want to start right here with this number because, honestly, it's just staggering. 12 million. 12 million. That is the number of websites currently relying on GSAP to power their interactive experiences. So right off the bat, we aren't talking about some niche experimental library that's going to break on your next project. No way. This is a battle-tested, enterprise-grade engine. You know, when a tool reaches this massive scale of adoption, it means it has survived the absolute ultimate stress test of the modern internet. It proves that whether you're building a tiny portfolio or a massive corporate flagship site, this tool is literally a core pillar of modern web reliability.
So what is it, fundamentally? Well, GSAP is a high-speed property manipulator, updating values over time with extreme accuracy. But, okay, let's translate that into what it actually feels like to use. When you're building web animations, your biggest enemy usually isn't your own code, right? It's the browsers. Safari handles things completely differently than Chrome, which acts differently than Firefox, and it's a massive headache. Well, GSAP is an engine of pure precision that physically works around those countless browser inconsistencies under the hood. You literally just tell it what you want to move, where you want it to go, and how fast, and your animations just work. It's like a universal translator for fluid, hyper-realistic motion.
And let's talk about the sheer, raw horsepower we're dealing with here. It operates up to 20 times faster than jQuery. 20 times. Now, for years, jQuery was kind of the default tool for manipulating web elements. But as the web evolved toward these really complex 60 frames per second animations, older libraries simply couldn't keep up. They'd choke, they'd stutter, they'd drop frames. But GSAP? It was engineered from the ground up for pure speed. It completely bypasses the bottleneck, ensuring that even if you're animating, say, hundreds of elements simultaneously, the performance stays buttery smooth.
But here is the absolute crucial point. Despite all of that crazy power, GSAP is completely standalone. Zero dependencies, maximum flexibility. In modern web development, avoiding dependency hell is absolutely crucial. And GSAP completely sidesteps that by being its own standalone powerhouse. You don't need to completely re-architect your whole project or bring in bloated external libraries just to use it. You can literally just sprinkle it in wherever you want, dropping it into an existing codebase to instantly upgrade your animation capabilities.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how incredibly versatile this framework is. It is entirely framework-agnostic. Just think about these targets: CSS, SVG, Canvas, React, Vue, WebGL, even raw data like colors, strings, or generic objects. It doesn't matter what you're working in. If JavaScript can touch it, GSAP can animate it. It completely removes those artificial boundaries between different web technologies. It gives you one single unified language for motion across the board.
Section 1. The Arsenal, highlighting the power features. Let's start looking at the specific high-fidelity gadgets we have available in this toolkit, almost like we're reviewing the specs on a really sleek heads-up display.
Okay, let's move to our first highlight feature, and honestly, this one is the absolute crown jewel, this Scroll Trigger plugin. Scroll Trigger is the unquestioned industry standard for delivering jaw-dropping scroll-based animations. Before this came along, tying animations to a user's scroll bar required some seriously intense, complex math, and it almost always resulted in jittery performance anyway. But Scroll Trigger, it handles all the heavy lifting with absolutely minimal code. If you want an image to pen to the screen, scale up, and then fade out exactly as the user scrolls past a specific pixel, boom! Scroll Trigger makes executing that complex dynamic incredibly simple.
Another massive highlight feature is the dedicated React package, specifically the @GSAP/React hook. Now, React is incredibly popular, we know that, but its component lifecycle can actually make advanced animations pretty tricky, especially when you're trying to clean up animations after a component unmounts. Well, this package exposes a Use GSAP hook, which acts as a brilliant tactical drop-in replacement for the standard React Use Effect or Use Layout Effect hooks. It automates all of those pesky cleanup tasks for you, so React developers can finally harness all of GSAP's power without constantly fighting the framework's architecture.
And the toolkit just keeps going. We have these incredibly advanced tactical gadgets. Morph SVG lets you seamlessly morph one vector shape into literally any other shape, no matter how many points they have. Split text takes a block of text and instantly breaks it down into individual lines, words, or characters so you can animate them independently, which is so cool. Then there's Motion Path, letting you animate elements along any custom path you draw. Plus, there are tools for flip animations, which are notoriously difficult to hand code, and an observer plugin that completely normalizes event detection across all browsers and devices. It's basically an absolute playground for creating complex chained animations.
Moving on to Section 2, the ultimate plot twist, a game-changing price tag. And guys, this is where things get really, really interesting. We are looking at a massive shift in how developers can actually access these premium tools.
Get this. The entire GSAP toolset is 100% free, even for commercial use. I mean, wow, this is a massive reveal. Historically, while the core of GSAP was free, some of the most powerful, mind-blowing plugins were locked behind a paid membership. But recently, thanks to a huge arrangement with Webflow, the financial barrier to this hyper-realistic toolkit has been completely obliterated. Completely. This is absolute industry-shaking news for developers everywhere. Just to clearly contrast the old model with our new reality here. In the old model, tools like Split Text, Morph SVG, and those other really premium plugins were strictly exclusive to paid Club GSAP members. But the new reality? 100% free, with all bonus plugins included. It literally doesn't matter if you're a student who's just learning to code in your bedroom or a professional agency building a commercial site for a Fortune 500 company. The entire suite is fully unlocked for everyone. It is a total democratization of high-end web animation.
Oh, and I've got one final, really surprising bonus technical spec to add to our radar before we wrap up. Because GSR is so ubiquitous and just so heavily relied upon across the web, every major ad network actually excludes GSAP from their file size calculations. If you have ever built display ads, you know that you are fighting for every single kilobyte to meet their strict limits. But most networks actually host GSAP on their own CDNs and just give it a free pass. It just further proves its supreme efficiency and its unquestioned status as a core pillar of modern web infrastructure.
So, we've broken down the incredible speed, the zero dependency flexibility, those unparalleled highlight features like scroll trigger, and of course, the unbelievable fact that this entire powerhouse is now totally free. You literally have the ultimate toolkit right at your fingertips and the barriers are completely gone. So the only question left to ask is this: with the ultimate animation arsenal now entirely free, what hyper-realistic web experience will you build first? It is time to suit up and write some code. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one.